So here's some things that are coming this fall that I wanted to share with you. And then I have some stuff that I want to talk about from the Bible. Is that okay if we do that? Is it okay to open the Bible in church? Is that cool? All right. So this fall, here's kind of our calendar from now through November-ish. So this Thursday, Showalter is doing a back to school event called the Back to School Bash, and I've got some people already who have said they would love to help serve at this event. I'm not going to be able to be here, and neither is Emily, but we will make sure that give you everything that you need as far as details. But if that's something that you'd be interested in helping with, it's from 3:30 to 7 on a Thursday. I know that's kind of a challenging time probably for many of us. But if that is something that you would be able to help with, it'll be right here at Showalter. And it's not an event that we're really doing a whole lot of for ourselves as much as we're just serving the school. So you'll come, you'll help set up. They're going to be giving away all of this stuff that you see behind me is stuff that they're giving away, school supplies, backpacks, etc. And so really this is a chance for us to build goodwill with the school and show them that we want to partner with them, that we want to help with what's happening here, that we want to be involved in the life of the school and not just be renters on a Sunday. So this is a way for us to do that. So if that's something that you want to be a part of, just send me a text, or Emily, send either of us a text and say, I want to help with the back to school event, and we'll put you on the list. Again, 3:30 to 7 this Thursday. Our final preview gathering is September the 7th, which is in 2 weeks from today. We'll be right back here for our next preview service on September the 7th. We're excited about that kind of last sneak peek for people to come before we grand open. And then September 21st and 28th, we will have what we're calling soft launch Sundays. This is really just think of it like the last preseason games, okay? Before the regular season starts. All of my sports fans are nodding their heads. Those of you that don't know sports are like, what does that mean? It's just a chance for us to have services that we can make sure that everything is ready to go before we grand open on October the 5th. So on soft launch Sundays, September 21st and 28th, I'm not going to be preaching. I've got some of my good friends coming to speak for us on those days, which is going to hopefully free me up to be able to kind of walk around a little bit and go to areas that I haven't been able to go to on a Sunday yet because I've been locked in here, chained to the pulpit to to preach. That was a joke. Manuel, thank you for chuckling. But those soft launch Sundays are important for us to continue to get reps that we need for setup, for teardown, for kids, for hospitality, for all of those things, the systems that we have in place to be able to put on our Sunday gathering. So I hope that you're planning to be here on those days. Those are also opportunities to invite someone as well. But if you're trying to get your one to show up, we would love for them to come on grand opening, especially. And so if you're thinking that you're only going to get one shot at it, maybe just wait to have them come to grand opening, okay? Unless they, for whatever reason, can't be there. So soft launch Sundays. How many of you know David Munoz, my friend David Munoz, who's from Colombia? He's going to be here preaching for us on the 21st. And then our friend Tony Salva, who is from Evergreen Network. Some of you may have met Tony. He was at our last team gathering, I think, here back in June. He will be preaching for us on the 28th. And so these are some good friends of Odyssey and of our church and of our family. So we're grateful to have them come. So grand opening weekend starts October the 3rd. So grand opening is what day? October 5th. Can we say that together? Grand opening is what day? One more time, because Lowell was being... No, I'm just teasing. Grand opening is what day? October 5th. Okay, but the weekend starts on Friday, and here's why. On Friday, October 3rd, we're partnering with Foster High School to put on a tailgating event for the football team. So come on, if you love football, this is your opportunity. And even if you don't, this is your opportunity. We're going to be serving food. There's going to be a team coming from Dallas from our partners at Strategic Launch Network. Lake Point Church in Dallas is sending a team of people up here to be with us on grand opening Sunday, and we're going to do a Texas-style tailgating event. Okay, anybody from Texas? Any Texans in the house? Lowell, that was your chance. Are you from Texas? Come on, man, let's go. We need the Texas representation in the room. But we're going to do a Texas-style tailgating event that afternoon leading up to the football game right over here at Foster High School. And we're inviting the entire community to come out and have some fun, enjoy some food, come to the football game, support the community that's here. And so this is a serving opportunity for us. If you want to come and help on that Friday, we're going to probably start, this is not yet set in stone, but likely that tailgating will start at 3:30 in the afternoon. The game starts at 7, and we're doing that so that the football team can participate in the tailgating event. And then we'll probably be here all the way up until game time. And then I would love to pack a section out in the stadium that is Odyssey as we cheer on the local Foster High School football team, because they're playing Lindbergh. So we got to come out in force, right? They're playing the team from Renton. So we got to let them know who's boss, right? So that's a fun event that we can participate in and serve with. Like I said, we'll have a team that's coming to kind of do a lot of the food prep and service for that day. So really it's a chance for us to come out and meet some people, maybe give out some food. That'll be fun on Friday. And then on Saturday morning, that same team from Dallas is going to lead us in a prayer walking opportunity. So we're going to walk the community and pray up and down the streets around this area. And so that's also an opportunity. I'm going to be sharing more information about this, but I'm just telling you so you kind of can maybe put this on your calendar. If you want to be a part of any of these things that we're doing, we'd love to have you participate. So Friday night, tailgating, Saturday morning, prayer walking. And then on October the 5th is what? Okay, you guys hesitated there. October the 5th is grand opening. It's launch Sunday, whichever one you want to call it, but it's our grand opening. We want everybody to be here. We want to pack this room out, okay? I don't know how many people we're going to be able to fit in here, but we're going to max it out on grand opening Sunday. And we're going to have put people in the back, behind the coffee, and we're going to have people standing maybe. I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to figure it out. We're going to cram as many people in this room as we can on grand opening Sunday, October the 5th. Okay, and how many of you know, like, starting September 21st, we're meeting every Sunday, right? Church is happening every week now. It's been nice for me to not have to have church every Sunday, but it's about to change. How many of you guys ready for it to change, right? Fall is coming. The new season is here, and it's now time to get to church every week. And I'm not trying to guilt anybody into being here every week, but we'll be here every week now, starting in September. And so enjoy the next couple of weeks, maybe, before things get real. Can I get a witness? Okay. So October the 12th, the week after grand opening Sunday, we're kicking off a brand new sermon series that I'm really excited about. I think this is something that God has given me to preach to our church in this brand new season. And so our first legitimate sermon series will kick off on October 12th. I don't yet know if this is what I'm calling it, but I think it's going to be called Too Good to Be True. Too good to be true. And here's some of the questions that we're trying to answer in this sermon series. 7 messages, and we're going to answer questions like, what happens when we die? How many of you know that death is something that all of us have had to face, whether somebody we know in our family, our friend circle, or whatever? What happens when we die? How do we fear, or why do we fear the unknown? How many of you guys know people, or maybe yourself, you fear the unknown, you fear what you don't know? How do we overcome worry and anxiety? Who has God made me to be? Why do I feel so alone? What do I do when I feel overwhelmed? I said 7, I think it's actually 6. I can't count. So those 6 messages will come right after grand opening, and the goal of those is for you to invite somebody that you know who may be struggling with one of those questions. Maybe you know somebody who's feeling overwhelmed, or you know somebody, or maybe you yourself are struggling with anxiety or worry or fear or whatever maybe identity, who has God made you to be. What we're trying to do is answer some of the biggest questions that people have in life from the scripture, from the Bible, because I believe the Bible has the answers for the questions that we're asking. And so that's going to be our first sermon series. We'll have more information on that, and also a way for you to invite someone to come to that with all of those things listed on it, so they can know kind of what's coming in the first 6 weeks of our church. October 19th, after church on the 19th, this is 2 weeks after our launch, we're having what we call Welcome Party. And this is for anyone who's been new to Odyssey. So this is our kind of welcome party, hence the name. This is kind of our welcoming event for anyone who's been coming that wants to learn more. How do I get connected? What is this church all about? I don't know anybody here. How can I meet some people? Welcome Party will be what we use ongoing, probably every other month or so, give or take. We'll plan it out, and we'll let everybody know when it's happening. But this will take place probably back in this back area back here after a service. We'll have a light lunch. We'll probably take 30 to 45 minutes max, where we're just talking and sharing about who we are and inviting people who have been trying out Odyssey to make a commitment to coming back and joining us as our church, okay? So that's not necessarily for you, but if you know somebody, or maybe you're bringing somebody that wants to connect in that way, you're more than welcome to come with them and participate. I expect you guys have already been welcomed, okay? Have we done a good job of welcoming you? All right? But this is for people who are new to Odyssey. We want to extend the same hospitality to them, the same welcome to them, to invite them to participate. Okay, the next thing I'm really excited about, November the 2nd. November the 2nd is Celebration Sunday, and we're celebrating baptisms on that day, okay? We're celebrating baptisms on November 2nd. We've got some people who are or will be ready to be baptized on November 2nd, but if there's anybody here that's actually on our team that you haven't yet identified with Jesus in baptism, we want to celebrate that with you, and we'll be having baptisms on November 2nd. Okay, so that's something that's coming. And then this is something that we're still working on, but likely the Sunday before Thanksgiving, which will be Sunday, November 23rd, we will not gather for worship. We will gather to serve. Okay, this is a part of our DNA as a church. We come together as a church not always just to worship. Sometimes we come together because we want to serve the city and serve the community. So the Sunday before Thanksgiving, we're still putting the details together on this, but likely what we're going to be doing is collecting donations and putting together meal bags for families in our area for Thanksgiving. How many of you know there's people in our area that have food insecurity? How many of you know that people in our area don't have enough to feed their family, okay? So we want to be the church that serves. We want to be the church that's involved in our community. So on Sunday, November 23rd, we will gather to serve our city the Sunday before Thanksgiving, okay? Any questions on that schedule, those events, what's happening, what's coming, anything that you have a question about? All of that made sense? Yes, Elizabeth. We plan to do it here. We're gonna do baptisms here. I haven't figured out exactly how, but we're gonna find some water. Come on, somebody. Yeah, in the sink, in the kitchen. Actually, no. No, likely what we will do is we will have some sort of tank, either in the room or just outside in the courtyard. I haven't figured out exactly how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to do them here, and we're going to celebrate at Showalter, at Odyssey Church. We're going to celebrate baptisms. So, yes. Where did I get my hat? Great question. If you want one of these, I need to order one for you, but they cost about $35. So if you want one, let me know, and I will get one for you. But also, I failed to mention, I was going to say this. This is the one thing that I forgot to mention earlier. We do have a merch store that's coming. Can we put our hands together for that? How many of you guys like church merch? Anybody church merch people? Okay, there's a few of you out there. I know not everybody is church merch people, right? Some of us like to prefer the Mariners or In-N-Out or something like that. But if you like to wear Odyssey stuff, we have an online store where you can go on and purchase an item for yourself and have it shipped directly to you. How cool is that? I don't have to hold it at my house because I got enough stuff in my house for Odyssey. I don't need anything else. But this will be a place where you can select your size and the style of shirt, sweatshirt. We've got, I think, hats and beanies and all kinds of stuff. So I will send that out in an email. That store, I think, is live and ready to go. You can get yourself an Odyssey hoodie if you want, or a shirt, or I think there's some hats on there. So that's all something that I will send out. So you have the direct link where you can go on and purchase. And right now we're selling those things at cost. So the price you see, we're not making any money off of that. That is at cost, what it costs for the company to print those and ship them to you and all of that, okay? So great question. I will send that out in an email with the merch, but these hats are not a part of that store. These are custom. So if you want one of these custom hats, you're going to have to ask me, and you'll have to pay me. No, I'm just teasing for that. Okay. Sunday, what I wanted to talk about next is our Sunday schedule, just because I wanted to run through this again in case anybody isn't aware of how things are happening here on a Sunday. So when we come to set up for service on Sunday, what time is the first people who are arriving? What time? 7 or 6:30 if you're early. Okay, but the building opens here at 7 a.m. So our setup teams are showing up at 7. Our first trailer is arriving at 7 a.m. so that we can start setting up this space, specifically in here for the worship space. And then at 8 o'clock, our next setup team arrives. This is our kids and hospitality setup team, because the second trailer will be here by 8. Okay, so first trailer arrives, then the second trailer arrives. We begin to set up hospitality and kids areas at 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, we want to have a service walkthrough. This is for the band, for the worship team, for the tech people, for anybody who's hosting or speaking or reading scripture in the service. We want to have a walkthrough at 9 o'clock so everybody knows when they're supposed to come up, what they're supposed to do, when it's supposed to happen, okay? At 9:20, what happens at 9:20? The huddle, right? All of the people who are serving on that day come to be a part of the huddle. This is a chance for us to give some encouragement, give some instruction. We want to rally together. We want to pray together. We want to cheer together. We want to just get hyped. How many of you guys like to get hyped, right? It's okay to be hyped at church, okay? Come on. So we want to get hyped up at the volunteer huddle at 9:20. At 9:30, we say doors open. What does that mean? When we say doors open, what does it mean? We're ready to go. Doors are open. That means the community is welcome to come, which means our kids' environments are ready to go. Our coffee service and food service is ready to go. Our greeters are in place. People who are ushering are ready. So that just means we need to be ready to receive people at 9:30. Now, if we're making a couple of little tweaks and things along the way, that's okay, all right? That's kind of expected in this season, but we want to be ready to receive people at 9:30, because what we are trying to do, some of what we're trying to do here, guys, is create a community that people can come to and find a place to belong. And sometimes that happens best before the service starts, right? That happens at 9:30, doors open. Gathering begins at 10. We're shooting to conclude the gathering at 11:15, so roughly a 75-minute service, give or take. It won't always be right on, but it'll be roughly there. So that way, those of you who are working with kids or who are serving in other places know that's what we're shooting for, is a 75-minute service, okay? And then this isn't a change as much as a clarification for those of you, especially those of you who are serving on pack up. We want to give about 15 minutes of margin between the time our service concludes and we start to pack up. Okay? How many of you know you've been to somewhere, maybe it's a wedding. How many of you guys have been to a wedding and like the wedding is over and they've got to flip that space to have the reception, right? And you kind of feel like you're caught in a moment where you don't know where to go or what to do. We don't want that feeling here. Okay, we don't want people to feel like we're ushering them out because we need to flip this space and get out of here. So roughly 15 minutes of margin where we're not really tearing anything down yet. Okay, especially the chairs. So like the chairs need to be like maybe one of the last things that we start to break down, just so people don't get the idea that we're trying to get them out of here. Okay, we want people to have a place where they can talk, they can have conversation, they can get prayed with, they can take next steps, they can have questions answered. So we're going to try to do our best we don't actually have to be out of here until 1 p.m. Okay, our reservation concludes at 1 o'clock. So we have roughly an hour and a half to pack up, get everything out of here, and exit the facility. Okay, so if you guys can help me with that, to create that space for people to connect, to feel like they're not having to rush out the door and get out of the space, I think that'll give us enough time to still pack everything up correctly and get out of here on time. Any questions on that? Okay. If you're serving out in a hospitality area or a kids area, the same is true to a certain degree out there. I would say roughly, again, 15 minutes after the service. Tyler, if you've got kids helping you put stuff away, that's okay. But I would say we don't want to have everything, packed up necessarily, and the kids are just sitting around or standing around waiting for parents to get them. So we want to create that environment all the way through the time they get picked up. But if you're serving outside, especially, and you're greeting people on the way out, I would love for you to help us by grabbing signs, tearing down the tent, grabbing the flags, just so that we're kind of keeping a mind of our areas and helping make sure that we pull all of that stuff back in and get it packed up right away. Or not right away, but when it's time. Make sense? Questions? Clarifications? Go ahead, Emily. Yes. Yes. Great question. I feel like that's a leading question. I appreciate your helping me. So here's something that I wanted to say about so right now, as a church, our serve teams is where we're connected in community. Okay, so our serve teams, those that we're serving with on a team, those are the people that I want us to connect and engage with. And sometimes those are different people, depending on if you're rotating through a kids assignment or a greeting assignment or a setup assignment or whatever. I'm hoping you're connecting with the people that you're serving with, and you're getting to know them, and you're getting to be familiar with them. Because right now we're not offering groups. How many of you guys are familiar with groups at a church? Like a small group or a community group or something like that. We're not offering that right now. And so what I want to see is that you're forming connections and relationships with the people that you're serving with. So to Emily's question, as setup concludes, or as we're done kind of doing our thing, my goal, and this is again a clarification for the food people, if you're preparing coffee or food on a Sunday morning, I would love for us to have something ready and available at about 9 o'clock for our volunteers. So if you're like, hey, I don't really feel like I'm connected with a lot of people at Odyssey, come at 9 o'clock before the huddle. Come and have a cup of coffee and talk to somebody, get to know somebody else on the team. Come grab something by way of food for breakfast or a snack. Maybe you've been here since 7 and you're setting up. Maybe you can kind of take a 10 to 15 minute breather and you can have a conversation with somebody before we really get going with our huddle and everything. So that time, that 9 a.m. to 9:20 time is really for you guys. Okay, it's for you as volunteers. If you want to come and you want to get connected, you want to have relationships and time for community, that's a chance for you to be able to do that. Okay, we try to build that in for you. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay. No, just say it. Just say it. Yes. I mean, they started showing up at 8:30 last week. Yes. Yes. So everyone is a greeter. How many of you guys have heard me say this? Everyone is a greeter, right? And everyone is a worshiper. So when we are here, one of the reasons why you're wearing this lanyard, because it indicates that you're here to serve. And so when we're here to serve, we're here to greet as well, right? So just have your greeting eyes and your greeting smile on, right? When you see somebody who walks in, like last week at 8:30 a.m., it's like, what is this guy doing here? Well, he probably just didn't realize what time we started, okay? Maybe he got the time mixed up. That's okay. We want him to be here. We want him to feel welcome here. And that doesn't mean that somebody has to be talking to him the entire time that he's here. But somebody should say hi to him. Somebody should offer him a cup of coffee, something to eat, should get his name, hear his story, et cetera, et cetera. And that goes for anybody who walks in at any point. We good on that? Okay, so regardless of what your job is, everybody should be looking for people who are new, right? How many of you have walked into somewhere where you didn't know anybody, you didn't know where to go, you didn't know what was happening, and no one walked up to you to say hi, to make sure that you knew where to go, what was happening, or what to do, right? So we need to be those people for those that are walking into this space, okay? Thank you, Emily, for helping me clarify that. Okay. How many of you have been getting Planning Center invites to your email? Anybody? Come on, please, raise your hand. If you've been getting emails from Planning Center inviting you, Cooper, don't raise your hand. I know you don't check your email. Okay. Only raise your hand if it's true. How many of you have been seeing Planning Center emails come through to invite you to serve? Okay. This is going to be really helpful for us. And honestly, this is more for you than it is for us. If you don't want us texting you, calling you, trying to figure out if you're coming or not, just hit yes or no, approve or decline on the email. That's all you have to do. And here, even if maybe if for you that don't check your email, I'm looking at you, Cooper, giving you a hard time. It's okay. It's all right. For those of us who maybe don't check our emails, we've got like thousands of unread emails on our mail app. You guys are weird. I know. It's okay. If you go and download the Services app, okay, it's a green app from Planning Center. If you download the Services app, I believe it will send you a notification through the app that you've been assigned to serve, okay? So maybe if you maybe would rather that, also, if you download the Services app, you can see who else is serving with you, what the service order is that day. You know what songs we're singing. You know who's doing what, right? So if you're the kind of person that likes to know what's happening, download the Services app, sign in, and also I'll say this, once you have the Services app, you can go in, you can update your profile. You can block out dates that you know you're not available. So if you know you're going to be out of town, you know you're going to be gone, you know you're unavailable, you're going to be working, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you can go in and actually tell us that, and we won't even schedule you. Or when we go to schedule you, it'll say, hey, this person has blocked this day out. Oh, okay, that's nice. We know that John's not going to be here, right? Great, awesome. Thank you, John, for telling us. So on Planning Center, and I'm kind of making a joke at this, but it's really helpful for us when we're going to schedule teams. So if you would just help us by going into Services, maybe downloading the app, or just responding to emails, yes or no, that you're not going to be here, that just helps us as we're kind of trying to put teams together to serve on Sundays. Make sense? Thank you for your help on that. Okay, something else that I wanted to share. This is for those of you who have middle school or high school students. How many of you have middle school or high school students? Middle school, high school students, okay? A number of us have students. Specifically, there is a large contingent of people who have middle school students on our team, which is awesome. And I love the fact that we have young people in our community, in our church, okay? And so here's just a clarification for those of you who may be wondering or may have been questioning what we're going to have for students. Right now, and I think as long as I can, we're trying to be In-N-Out, not Cheesecake Factory. Do you guys know what I mean? How many of you like In-N-Out? Come on, somebody. In-N-Out just opened the first location ever in the state of Washington. We can celebrate that. Jehovah Jireh, the God who provides, has given us an In-N-Out. It's only 2.5 hours away, but it's here. How many of you guys have been at Cheesecake Factory? Cheesecake Factory? Anybody Cheesecake Factory fans? You love Cheesecake Factory. How many of you know it's like reading a novel to see what you want to order at Cheesecake Factory? Okay. So here's as a church, we're trying to be more like In-N-Out and not Cheesecake Factory. Here's what I mean by that. We're trying to do a few things well instead of a bunch of things just kind of mediocre and okay. I mean, Cheesecake Factory is not bad, okay? But they got a ton of things on their menu. In-N-Out only has a few things on their menu, right? You can't go and order chicken nuggets. Just can't do it, right? So as a church, we want to try to do a few things well. And right now, we don't have the bandwidth to do students really well. So we're choosing not to have a student ministry right from the start, okay? Now, here's what I want to say on that. We want to create a welcoming space for students. And so what we want to do is incorporate them into what we're doing as much as we can. So we want to create space for students to serve, and we want to create a space for students to sit. We want to create a space for students to connect with community, and that's with all of us and with those that are their age, okay? So I know some of you, especially if you have middle school or high school students, it's awkward. It's weird sometimes. It's a challenge often. Alexis, can I get an amen? Okay, Alexis deals with students all the time, okay? But let me encourage you to step out of your comfort zone and try to invite and include a student to engage with you. Maybe, so some of you are going to be assigned to serve with a student. There's going to be a middle school or high school student that's assigned to greet with you, to serve coffee with you, to sing with you, to serve with kids with you, to serve on a setup team with you. And here's what my ask is for all of us as adults, is to include them, is to invite them to come along and serve with us, because we want them to feel a part of what we're doing just as much as everybody else, okay? So you're going to see students who are serving with kids or on worship or on greeting teams or setup teams, pack-up teams, and we want them to feel like they're a part of this as much as we are, okay? So as adults, we need to take it on ourselves to make space for them, to mentor them, to as much as they're willing to allow us to invite them to come along and join us on this journey. And also, I'll say one of the things that we're thinking about trying to work on is maybe having something once or twice a month called After Party, where we invite students to hang out after service and connect and engage with other students, and maybe ask a couple of questions about the message or their week or what's happening in their lives, and just try to have a little bit of like a circle up, almost kind of like a small group for students. That's something that we're working on, because we do want to create space for them to connect and engage with people of their own age, but we're not going to have a full-fledged student ministry at this point. Does that make sense? Questions on that? Emily? Yes. We want them to feel like they belong, right? We want them to feel included and a part of what we're doing. Okay, now comes the Bible portion, and I promise you this is not that long, okay? So go to, if you have a Bible or your phone, take out that thing, book, device, whatever it is that you're using. 1 Corinthians chapter 12. I want to read a few verses here. 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 4 is where we're going to begin. 1 Corinthians 12 and verse 4, and I'm reading from the CSB. It says this: "Now there are different gifts, but the same Spirit. There are different ministries, but the same Lord. And there are different activities, but the same God produces each gift in each person. A manifestation of the Spirit is given to each person for the common good." Okay? So what these verses are saying here, Paul is saying that each of us as the church have a gift that God has given us. The Holy Spirit is manifest in us through a specific way. God has wired you, He has gifted you, He has created you with certain abilities, talents, gifts, wirings for the purpose of, and I love what it says here, it says, for the common good. For the good of the community, God has given you a gift. And it's not the same gift. For many of us, it's different gifts. It's a different manifestation of the Spirit. It's a different way that God has made you, that God has created you, that He has gifted you in a certain way to be able to serve the community. Okay? So, the church is not built on the giftedness or personality of a few people. The church is built on the sacrifice of all of us. Okay, let me say that again. The church is not built on any one person's personality or ability. The church is built on the sacrifice of all of us being good stewards of the gifts that God has given to us. Okay, because it's the same Spirit, it's the same Lord, it's the same mission. How many of you know we're on the same mission? We're on the same team here, and there are things that you do that I don't do. There are things that you do well that I do terribly, okay? And vice versa. And so God has given us together the gifts and talents and abilities that we need to be able to accomplish the mission that we are setting out to accomplish. So failure to use our gifting is a failure of stewardship. Jesus told the story in the Gospels of how a person, a landowner, gave these different people different quantities of talents, coins, of money. And he asked them to steward well what they'd been given. And some people got 10 talents, some people got 5 talents, some person got 1 talent. And some of us have more talents than others. But the reality is that all of us have a responsibility to steward well what God's given to us. So a failure to use our gifting is a failure to steward well what God has given to us. Does that make sense? So what I'll say on this, and this is what Paul gets to later on in Corinthians, but love and service are the most important spiritual gifts. Here's what I want to point out on this. It's not to say that one gift is more important than others. Okay? It's not that someone's ability is more special or more valuable than another's. The reality is that we're all important. We're all valuable to what's happening here. And so we ought to serve not with a sense of pride, not with a sense of arrogance that we are something special or the gift that we have is something that's so unique, but we ought to serve with humility and love in everything that we do, because that's what's most important. Paul says, I show you a better way. Love is the most important gift that we can serve with. And so we ought to serve with love, love for God and love for our neighbor. During a tour to the NASA Space Center in 1962, the story is told that President Kennedy visited NASA in 1962 and noticed a man carrying a broom down a hallway. And JFK asked this man what his job was at NASA. The man carrying the broom replied, I'm helping put a man on the moon. You might think, dude, you're just sweeping floors. What are you talking about? You're not putting anybody on the moon. You're just mopping the hallway. But everybody at NASA believed they were a part of a greater mission to put a man on the moon. And so regardless of what our role is, we don't all have the same role. Some of us play, some of us sing, some of us serve coffee, some of us set up signs, some of us teach or speak or read or pray or whatever. We don't all have the same role, but we are all on the same mission. Not to put a man on the moon, but to put Jesus into this community. Can I get an amen? That's what our mission is. Our mission is to help people discover the story of God and join in the journey with him. Some will haul, some will set up, some will sing, some will pour, some will teach, and some will change diapers. Together, we're contributing to the mission and vision of a church for all nations. That's why we're here. Okay? So I hope that each of us feel that way when we're serving on a Sunday. Big or small, long or short, we're all in the same mission to see God do a work here in this community. Sometimes they'll say around the NFL that the greatest ability is, anybody know? Availability. The greatest ability on a football team is for you to be there and not be hurt, is to be available to go into the game. And so I just want to say the greatest ability that you can bring to Odyssey Church is the gift of availability. Because we need you to be here as often as you can be. We need you to be a part of what's happening here as much as you can. And I understand there are things that come up. There are things that you can't control. There are responsibilities that you have. And I want to respect that. But as often as you can be here, we would love for you to be available to be a part of what's happening here. Okay? All right. Here's what I'm asking. From September 7th to December 24th, which is Christmas Eve, in case you were wondering, is 15 weeks. And we're asking for you to commit to serving as often as you can this fall for these 4 months. Okay, here's my promise to you. At the end or close to the end of that time, I'm going to reach out, or we're going to reach out via me or Emily or Leah or whoever is going to reach out. Maybe one of your team leaders is going to reach out and say, hey, how did it go? Do you want to keep serving in the way that you did? Do you want to keep serving as often as you did? Do you want to keep serving in the way and the role that you did? Because here's my commitment to you. I know that asking you to commit till Jesus comes back is a little tough of a commitment, okay? He might come back before December 24th, right? But here's what I'm asking you, is that over the course of the next roughly 15 weeks, from the beginning of September to the end of December, that you would serve as often as you can. And I know I've got some travel, I've got some other things that are happening, but as often as I think I'm going to be here every Sunday, as much as I can tell right now. We're asking that you would commit to serving as often as you can be here. So for some of you, that may mean every week. And I know that's a big lift. For those of you that may mean every other week, it might mean once a month. It might mean a couple of times over the course of the next 15 weeks. I don't know what it looks like for you. But my ask for you as a part of the team, you're here today because you're a part of the team at Odyssey. My ask is that you would serve as often as you can. Okay? Some of you may be asked to serve with kids during that time. How many of you know that we need people who work with kids? Okay? How many of you know it's important for us to create an environment where kids can come and have fun, learn about God and Jesus at their own level, and not have to run circles around the chairs in this room while we're singing and teaching? Sometimes that'll happen, and that's okay, all right? But some of you will be asked to serve with a team on kids. Some of you may be asked to serve with setup, which means getting here early. Some of you might be asked to serve on a pack-up team, which means sticking around later in the afternoon. We won't ask you to play an instrument unless you know how to play an instrument, okay? But there are things that all of us will be asked to do that may be outside of our realm of what we would like to do. But it's important for us to come ready to serve in whatever way. And listen, we will invite your feedback. We will invite you to tell us what you like and what you don't like. But for the next 4 months, we're asking you to maybe sacrifice some of what you want to do or don't want to do for the sake of the mission. Because we've all got to carry a broom. Okay? We've all got to carry a mop to do things maybe that we don't want to do in order to fulfill the mission that we're trying to do here. Does that make sense? Are you guys okay? You got quiet in here. I just want to make sure we're okay. All right? Questions on that? Okay. the last thing that I'll say on this, and then we're going to break up and pray. Maybe for some of you, making this commitment to Odyssey over the course of the next 4 months means that you need to give your 2 weeks notice. You need to let your current church or your former church or the church that you've been at know that you are making this commitment to be a part of what Odyssey is doing, okay? Some of you may have already done that. Some of you may need to consider doing that or figure out how you want to do that. But I would encourage you to do that. I think there needs to be a line of demarcation that we are stepping into a rocket and we ain't coming back very soon. Okay? We're going into space here. We're launching a rocket into space, all right? Odyssey is launching and we're stepping into that to be a part of that mission, okay? And so I would encourage you, if you haven't yet done that, to start thinking about how you want to do that and when you're going to do that, because on September 21st, what happens? Every week, right? September 21st, we're every week, okay? And we would love to have your commitment every week or as often as you can for the first 4 months. We good? Okay. If you have questions or if you want to talk with me about that, like please know that I would love to have a conversation with you about that. I'm not trying to be harsh here. I'm just trying to be clear. Okay? And I would love to have your commitment at least for the first 4 months of this ride that we're on. Sound good? Okay. Turn to 1 Peter chapter 4. This is the last scripture that I want to read, and I hope this is more of an encouragement to you. And we're going to use this here in a moment to pray together. How many of you know that prayer is important? Someone once said that prayer doesn't prepare us for the work. Prayer is the work. And if we want to see God work, if we want to see God show up and be a part of what we're doing, we got to invite him to show up and pray. Prayer is how we do that. Okay, so 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 7. Here's what Peter wrote about 2,000 years ago. Peter wrote, "The end of all things is near." Man, the sky is falling. No, Peter thought the end was coming. And guess what? We're still living in the end times. The end is near. We don't know when it will be. We don't know when the end will come. But the end of all things is near. Therefore, be alert and sober-minded for prayer. Be alert and sober-minded for prayer. And verse 8, above all, maintain constant love for one another. Above all, be alert for prayer and be constant in love for one another, since love covers a multitude of sins. How many of you know that's going to require love for us to get along? It's going to require love for us to overlook offenses and things that people say to us or do to us. In order for us to stay united in our mission of what we're trying to do here, love covers a multitude of sins. I'm going to guarantee you right now, if I haven't already, I'm going to say something that might be offensive to you. I'm sorry. I'm just an offensive person. I'm just abrasive a little bit, okay? But it's going to require love for us to get along and to be be united in common community together for the sake of this mission, okay? So above all, maintain constant love for one another, since love covers a multitude of sins. Verse 9, be hospitable to one another without complaining. Some people have asked, like, why is hospitality so important? Why do we need to be hospitable as a church? It says it right here. Peter says we need to be hospitable to one another without complaining. That we're receiving people, we're welcoming people. That's what hospitality is. We're welcoming people to be a part of what this is. You know, hospitality is the same root word as hospital. Did you know that? So we're welcoming people in because we know that people are sick and they need help. People are broken and they need to be restored. People are lost and they need to be found. People are searching and they need to have answers. So we can create a hospitable environment for them to find that. To find the answers they're looking for. All right? Verse 10, this goes back to what Paul was saying in Corinthians. Just as each one has received a gift, use it to serve others as good stewards of the varied grace of God. If anyone speaks, let it be as one who speaks God's words. If anyone serves, let it be from the strength God provides. I don't expect you to serve in your own strength, in your own power, because God has to be the one to give you that strength. And so we invite him into the room every time we get together. God, we need you. We need your strength. We need your spirit. We need your presence to be here in this place so that God may be glorified through Jesus Christ in everything. In everything we do, so that God may be glorified through Jesus. To him, to Jesus, be the glory and the power forever and ever. Amen. It's him. He is the reason why we do what we do.